All right, you fuckers. Ever popped the hood and wondered what the hell that brick-sized motherfucker powering everything is all about?
Not really, no.
Well, we're talking about the goddamn car battery a day, and trust me, it's way more interesting than you think.
I hope you're right.
Oh, it is.
Heh.
To help us break it all down, we've got a real battery wizard in the house today. This motherfucker knows more about amps and volts than Edison himself. So, let's cut the crap. What the hell is a car battery anyway?
Well, it's a chemical reactor at its core. You've got 6 cells.
6 cells.
Yeah, each with lead alloy plates submerged in a sulfuric acid solution.
It sounds kind of hardcore.
It is.
But how does that shit actually make my car go vroom?
It's all about the flow of electrons.
Electrons, huh?
When you turn the key,
Turn the key.
a chemical reaction kicks off, releasing electrons from the negative lead plates.
Okay.
Those little bastards zip through the electrical system, powering the starter, lights,
All
radio,
that shit.
all that shit. Then they flow back into the battery at the positive lead oxide plates, completing the circuit.
So basically, every time I start my car, it's like a tiny rave for electrons under the hood.
Pretty much. And this whole setup, wild as it sounds, has been around for over a century.
Over a century.
Yeah, back in the day, cars didn't even have batteries.
No batteries. What the fuck?
You had to hand crank that engine every goddamn time.
Shit, those poor bastards. No Spotify, no AC, just sore arms and gas-powered headlights.
Exactly.
Thank God for progress.
Absolutely. And as cars got more complex...
They got more complex.
Yeah, so did their batteries. We went from those weak-ass 6V systems to the 12V ones we use today.
Speaking of volts, let's talk about those cryptic-ass acronyms on battery labels. What the hell does CCA mean anyway?
Cold cranking amps.
Cold cranking amps. So what about CA, MCA, HCA?
It's like alphabet soup exploded all over the damn thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's break it down. CCA stands for cold cranking amps.
You already said that.
Right, but I'm telling you what it means. It measures how much current your battery can pump out when it's freezing its nuts off, specifically 0 degrees Fahrenheit.
So the higher the CCA, the more likely I am to get my car started on a frosty morning.
You got it. Now, CA, or cranking amps, is similar, but measured at a slightly warmer 32 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay, so that's for us folks who don't live in the goddamn Arctic Circle. What about MCA and HCA?
MCA is for marine cranking amps, basically the same thing, but for boats and other vehicles that aren't usually dealing with sub-zero temps. And HCA stands for hot cranking amps, measuring the battery's power at 80 degrees Fahrenheit.
So if I'm cruising through the desert in the middle of summer, I need a battery with a high HCA rating.
Not necessarily. Most modern cars with fuel injection start pretty damn quick, even in the heat. What's more important is making sure the battery matches your car's specs and your typical driving conditions.
So matching the battery to your ride is key.
Yeah.
Kind of like picking the right beer for a tailgate party. You don't want to show up with some weak-ass light beer when you're grilling up a goddamn feast.
Exactly. Now here's where things get a little more serious. All this battery power comes at a cost. Those lead-acid batteries we've been talking about, not exactly eco-friendly.
Yeah, lead some nasty shit, right?
No kidding. Mining and processing lead can pollute the environment, and if those batteries aren't recycled properly, they can leach lead into the soil and water.
So we got to be careful with this shit.
Yeah.
It's like we need these batteries to get around, but we don't want to fuck up the planet in the process.
Right on. That's why recycling car batteries is so crucial. Almost all the lead can be recovered and reused, which cuts down on the need to mine more.
So do your part, folks. Recycle those bad boys. Okay, we've covered the basics, the history, and the whole environmental thing. Before we move on, hit us with some of that cool trivia you were talking about earlier. You know, the kind of shit that makes people go, holy fuck, I never knew that.
All right, get this. Back in 2010, Porsche offered a lithium-ion battery option for their 911 GT3 RS. That was pretty revolutionary because lithium-ion was still a niche technology back then.
Damn, Porsche was ahead of the game. What else you got?
Check this out. Tesla is using 48V systems in their Cybertrucks to reduce the amount of wiring, which saves weight and makes the truck more efficient.
Tesla doing Tesla things, I guess. All right, that's some seriously cool shit. We're going to take a quick piss break, but when we come back, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of battery maintenance.
Yeah.
You know how to keep those bad boys running like a well-oiled machine? So stick around, motherfuckers.
So we were talking about keeping these fuckers healthy.
Yeah, let's talk about how to keep those bastards running like a goddamn champion.
First things first, heat is the enemy.
Heat, yeah. Heat can really screw things up. It melts your ice cream, wilts your lettuce, and turns your car battery into a useless piece of shit. Why is that?
High temperatures cause the electrolyte inside the battery to evaporate.
Evaporate.
Yeah, which shrinks the active surface area of the plates.
So less surface area, less power.
Exactly. It can also lead to sulfation.
Sulfation. Sounds like some nasty-ass STD.
It's not quite that bad, but it's definitely not good for your battery. It's a buildup of lead sulfate crystals on the battery plates. It's like cholesterol clogging your arteries.
I see.
Reduces the battery's ability to hold a charge and shortens its lifespan.
So keep it cool.
Got it.
What else should we be watching out for?
Corrosion.
Corrosion.
Uh-huh. Those battery terminals, the positive and negative posts,
Yeah.
they can get all crusty and shit over time.
So it's like rust on your tools?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That corrosion acts like an insulator blocking the flow of electricity.
So we got to keep that shit clean. What's the best way to deal with it?
A little baking soda and water paste can work wonders. Just mix it up, slather it on those terminals, let it sit for a few minutes, then scrub it off with a wire brush.
And how do we prevent that shit from coming back?
A thin coat of dielectric grease on those clean terminals will do the trick. It's like putting a condom on your battery. Always practice safe battery sex, people.
Hell yeah. Speaking of things that can drain your battery, what about deep discharging? Is that as bad as they say it is?
It's definitely not ideal. Deep discharging, like when you leave your headlights on all night.
And your battery goes completely dead.
Yeah, that can really fuck up a lead-acid battery.
What happens when a battery gets deep discharged?
It can cause a massive buildup of that sulfation we talked about, basically choking the life out of your battery.
So don't drain that battery completely.
Yep.
Makes sense. Any other nuggets of wisdom you want to drop on us?
Yeah, a few more. Make sure your battery is securely mounted. Vibrations can cause damage and shorten its life.
Okay.
And if your battery is getting up there in years, say more than 3 or 4 years old,
Yeah.
it's a good idea to have it tested regularly. That way you can catch any potential problems before they leave you stranded on the side of the road.
Solid advice. Nobody wants to be that asshole calling a tow truck because their battery took a shit.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground here. What's the main takeaway for our listeners? What do they really need to remember about these car batteries?
I think the main thing is car batteries are more complex and important than most people realize.
Yeah. They're not just some dumb box of power, They're sophisticated chemical reactors that play a crucial role in keeping our vehicles running. And understanding how they work and how to care for them can save you a lot of headaches and maybe even some cash down the road.
Right. Knowledge is power, baby.
Exactly. And speaking of power, let's shift gears and talk about the future of car batteries. The technology is evolving rapidly and things are about to get really fucking interesting.
All right, hold that thought because we're going to dive into the wild world of next-gen battery tech right after this. Don't touch that dial, you magnificent bastards. We're back and ready to fry some circuits, talking about the future of car batteries. So what's the latest and greatest in the battery world, Brainiac?
Things are getting pretty wild. Electric vehicles are booming, and that means the demand for better, more powerful batteries is going through the roof.
Yeah, EVs are all the rage these days. But those things run on those big-ass lithium-ion batteries, right? Not the same as those lead-acid fuckers we've been talking about.
You got lithium-ion batteries are lighter, more energy-dense, and they can handle way more charge cycles than lead-acid.
So they're the powerhouse behind this whole EV revolution.
Exactly.
So is it game over for lead-acid? Are those old-school batteries going extinct?
Not so fast. Lead-acid batteries still have their advantages. They're cheaper to produce, and they're reliable as hell. Plus, they can deliver that burst of power needed for starting a combustion engine, which lithium-ion batteries struggle with a bit.
So it's a goddamn battery battle royale. Lead-acid versus lithium-ion, who's going to win?
It's not really about winning or losing. It's about using the right tool for the job. Lead-acid will probably stick around for gas-powered cars and other applications where cost and reliability are key. But for EVs and other high-performance applications, lithium-ion is the future.
Makes sense. But what about even newer battery tech? I've heard whispers of solid-state batteries, sodium-ion batteries, even some crazy shit called lithium-air batteries. What the hell are those all about?
Those are the next wave of battery tech. They're still in the early stages of development, but they have the potential to change the goddamn game.
Break it down for us. What makes those batteries so special?
Okay. Solid-state batteries are basically lithium-ion batteries, but with a solid electrolyte instead of a liquid one. That makes them safer, more energy-dense, and potentially even longer-lasting.
Safer. So no more exploding phones or laptops. Sign me the fuck up. What about those sodium-ion batteries?
Sodium-ion batteries are similar to lithium-ion, but they use sodium instead of lithium. Sodium is way more abundant and cheaper than lithium, which could make these batteries a more affordable and sustainable option in the long run.
Okay, sodium batteries. Cheap and plentiful. I like the sound of that. But lithium-air batteries, that sounds like some straight-up sci-fi shit. What's the deal there?
Lithium-air batteries have the potential to be the holy grail of battery tech. They use oxygen from the air as part of the chemical reaction, which means they could theoretically store way more energy than any other battery technology out there. We're talking about potentially powering an EV for thousands of miles on a single charge.
Holy shit, that's some next-level shit right there. So are we all going to be driving flying cars powered by lithium-air batteries in a few years?
Not quite. These technologies still face some serious challenges. Solid-state batteries are expensive to produce, sodium-ion batteries aren't as energy-dense as lithium-ion, and lithium-air batteries are still a long way from being commercially viable. But the research and development is moving fast, and who knows what breakthroughs are just around the corner.
So it's like the Wild West of battery tech out there. What should our listeners be watching out for in the coming years?
The battery landscape is about to get really fucking interesting. We're on the verge of a battery revolution that could transform everything from electric vehicles to portable electronics to grid-scale energy storage. So keep your eyes peeled and your minds open because things are about to get electrifying.
Damn straight. All right, folks, there you have it. A deep dive into the world of car batteries, from their humble beginnings to their high-tech future. We've covered a lot of ground today, but the main takeaway is this. Batteries are fucking awesome, they power our world, and the future of battery tech is brighter than a goddamn supernova. Thanks for hanging out with us today, you magnificent bastards. Until next time, peace out.